Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Terence Crawford, path to Canelo, has been blocked, at least for right now. I do think Canelo will have a conversation with Turki Al-Sheikh, and I think Canelo will take the Crawford fight. The thing is this: when you look at Canelo and you really understand his desires, his legacy is cemented. When you look at Crawford and you understand his desires, his legacy is cemented. So as far as Crawford going, trying to become a undisputed in the third weight class, I don't think that's his motivation. And I'm going off of what Crawford said. He's looking for the biggest fights for the most money. Now, those are Crawford's words. If you accept that, then you shouldn't be pushing for Crawford to fight, Tim Tszyu, Boots Ennis, or anyone else at 154. Because the biggest fights for the biggest money, it's not those guys. Charlo, right now, I don't think so. We all know Charlo's inactivity, and he's just not in the same position he was before fighting Canelo. Anyway, the biggest fight, biggest money is Canelo. And if you look at Canelo, the biggest fight, the biggest money for him, probably Crawford. Who's Canelo going to fight after he fights Edgar Berlanga? All right? We already looked at that, up and down, left to right. There's just really no one there for Canelo to fight. That's a huge name going to bring in huge money. Now, I understand most people are saying, it doesn't matter who Canelo fights, he's going to make money. Yeah, he's going to make a lot of money, but we need to understand this about Canelo. As far as how his numbers have looked, pay-per-view wise, they haven't been as handsome as they were in the past. Now, we know today's boxing pay-per-view climate, ain't nobody really doing a 1.5 million, definitely not 2 million in pay-per-view buys, okay? It's just not happening. But for Canelo, I think the sweet spot is around that 500,000, and he hasn't been hitting that mark. So we're going to see how he does with Edgar Berlanga. I am not sure they even hit 500,000 in pay-per-view buys. What makes that interesting is Canelo's 3-fight deal with PBC is up. He got paid good money. But for him to go and to look to negotiate with Matchroom or whoever it's going to be, because he will work with anyone as long as the money's right? If you listen to Canelo, right? It depends. It's all about the money to Canelo, okay? Those are Canelo's words. I don't think he's going to get the big money like he has grown accustomed. Now, don't get me wrong. Whether it's 180 million, 200 million, 150 million, or 115 million, that's still a lot of damn money. But not the kind of money he was used to receiving. That being said, Canelo, after Edgar Berlanga, and just seeing what's out there as far as promoters and offers, I think the reality is going to become quite clear that Terence Crawford is the optimal choice for his next fight after Edgar Berlanga. There's a huge interest in the fight. There's going to be huge financial backing. And I definitely believe it will do over $1 million in pay-per-view buys. Just my opinion. We may agree, we may not agree. But if you don't agree, that's fine. But just hold your horses and don't take it to the stupid. But if Canelo chooses to do something different after Berlanga, and if Crawford is like, look, I ain't really motivated to mess with these guys at 154. If I'm going to go up, you know what, I'm not just going to 160, playing around with Alam Canuli, which I think Alam Canuli would tranquilize Crawford. Styles make fights. I think Crawford should just bubble on up to 168 and challenge William Skull. I watched William Skull fight. He got a weird style. He is your typical Cuban fighter, well-disciplined, outstanding boxer. He just has a weird style. Anyway, you know, guy running around here with, let me show you who William Skull is, man. He's running around here with 9 damn fights, looking crazy, 9 damn knockouts, looking crazy. All right, that's old William Skull. 22 wins, 9 KOs. 40% KO ratio. They don't have his reach on here, but looks like he has pretty long arms. Anyway, Crawford should just fight Skull and defeat him, right? Because Skull's getting ready to fight for the vacant IBF strap. I think Skull should win that fight. And then, even if he loses, whoever ends up being the victor, Crawford should fight him. That's if Crawford really, you know, like, if he's dead set on trying to get a fight with Canelo. That's one way to do it. Go up to 168, clip Skull, and then now you're like, hey, here I am. And now you have a unification, which will declare an undisputed champion at 168. That's one way to get Canelo to fight him. However, that's in a perfect world, right? But when you sit back and you try to, you know, peel the layers back on what direction Crawford could go, Canelo could go, I think Crawford has an easier path. When you look at Canelo with all those straps, Canelo, he's got some mandatories, man. Well, he's got some people who are going to become mandatory. And Canelo's got the M-Billies to worry about, you know. He got the Pachecos to worry about. Canelo has an uphill battle. And I personally think Canelo will lose sooner than Crawford will lose, with Canelo continuing to campaign as a unified champion at 168, and Crawford continue to campaign as a WBA champion at 154. Now, I do think Bohachuk and Virgil Ortiz, I've already talked about this, is an interesting fight. That could be something Crawford could entertain as a unification, depending on who wins today. But that being said, the motivation, people, what's the motivation? Okay, money, cool. Who's going to give Canelo the money he wants? Who's going to give Crawford the money he wants? Outside of them, outside of each other, nobody. It's simple. I mean, what Crawford going to do, fight Gervonta Davis? Who's Canelo going to do, fight Gervonta Davis? We know Canelo ain't bubbling up to no heavyweight division. He went up there messing around with Bivol, got the Russian beans put on him. And since then, Canelo's tucked his tail between his legs and been out here, man, just avoiding serious threats. But Canelo has put the work in. He deserves all the credit in the world. And I think that Jaime Munguia fight let me know that Canelo is definitely on another level. True, he has more experience. He had more experience than Munguia. But Munguia had all the qualities to beat Canelo. And in the first 3 rounds, you could see. I was like, uh-oh, here we go. Canelo's about to lose tonight. But Munguia, inexperienced and getting over anxious and not having the patience that he needed, he threw the game plan out the window and started doing what comes instinctively. And then Canelo tranquilized him, I think it was in the 4th round. Then after that, Canelo continued to hurt him. And I think he, you know, the word being thrown around is he showed a lot of compassion towards Munguia, who was his fellow countryman. and he just didn't want to, knock him out and ruin his career. So he just carried him to get to the end of the fight. And I'll be honest, I think that's commendable, if that's what happened. At the same time, it could have some people thinking, you know what, Canelo's not that guy anymore. And I say, you're going to see when he fights Edgar Berlanga that Canelo is still a menace. And I think he's going to destroy Edgar Berlanga. But then after that, it comes back to what I was saying. What's Crawford going to do? And I think if Canelo chooses to do something different, at least in the interim, Crawford should pursue a fight with Skull. But at the same time, Crawford don't have to chase nobody. Canelo doesn't have to chase nobody. Canelo has a machine behind him, and his machine is his fan base. So he'll be okay. Crawford has a machine behind him. His machine is Turkey a la Sheik. And we already know what comes with that. So Crawford's okay. But I got another video coming because I'm wondering. I went on live last night with somebody, and they told me, they gave me a little information about Earl Spence, Canelo, and a Netflix deal, and what they were saying kind of made sense. But I'll talk about that in the next video. That being said, fight Skull for the IBF title at 168 if Skull ends up becoming the victor in his scheduled fight. And then from there, I don't think there's any. It puts Canelo in a tough spot to where he has to fight Crawford. But we know Canelo has no problem putting duck sauce on the carne asada, so he may not fight him anyway. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.